with this today, we're going to have another conversation, and today's guest is Sandra. She's a journalist. She's a journalist that turned entrepreneur. When you have had a product line that's 10 years, you're on your way. After much innovation, she has a set of products under the moniker Fountain Pimento. Oil uses leaves, bark, seeds, and natural plant oils to create organic, vegan, safe, herbal relief and hair growth. These products are suitable for all ethnicities. Her products can be found on several online platforms, including Amazon, Groupon, Etsy, and We Buy Black. As usual, my co-host, Chris, will be doing the interview. So take it away, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Thanks, Denise, and welcome Sandra G to our conversation. It's great to have you. We always look forward to folks like you are entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
You didn't grew up yesterday, right? Yeah,
no.
So you started as, we know you have some Jamaican roots. Tell us a little about, although you were born in England, you have Jamaican roots. Tell us a little about your parents, where they're from in Jamaica and the like.
Okay, well, my parents, my mother, she was born in St. Thomas, but she grew up in Kingston because of the school she went to. She went to Excelsior. So she doesn't know a lot about St. Thomas. She just used to go back in the holidays, so she doesn't really know much about, she doesn't know much about Jamaica, in fact, because she left at a young age. And my father, he's from Clarendon. My dad comes from Racecourse in Clarendon, and it's a very rural area. And he and my mother met actually at the airport going to England. They were both 19, so they went to England at a young age, and they met at the airport, and they stayed in touch. And my mum went to England to continue to train to be a nurse, and my father went as a welder. And so they went to England in just before independence, actually, 1962. And like I said, they went as young adults. So both of them don't know too much about Jamaica in terms of what Jamaica is now. But so that's my roots. Yeah.
So where in England is your family situated?
In South London. I was born in Camberwell, which is in South London, in the borough of Southwark. For those listeners who know anything about London, we're split into boroughs. So I was born in the borough of Southwark in South London. I grew up in South London. I went to school in Herne Hill. I lived most of my young age in Herne Hill, which is like next to Brixton. Most people are familiar with Brixton. It has a huge concentration of Caribbeans. And like when my parents went to England, England wasn't as multicultural as it is now. Do you know what I'm saying? There wasn't that many black people there, especially of Caribbean descent. So they were pretty much concentrated in certain areas. Those areas included where I was born, Camberwell, Brixton, Clapham, a lot of Caribbeans in Tottenham, certain areas of North London. So, and when they went at the time, it was racist. So it was difficult to rent accommodation. So most families would, one would buy a house and then they all rent a room in the house. That's how most Caribbeans, Jamaicans that I know of, that's how it started for them when they first went to England. So.
Wow, that's something for two teenagers to take this, to meet and to take off, that says a lot. So they both ended up in London, and that's what caused them to get together?
Well, they met leaving Jamaica. My mum was headed to, she was actually going to Bath, right, which is close to Bristol. It's a country part, and my father was going to London. His parents were already in England. You know how it is. They leave and then they send for the children one by one by one. My mother is the last of 13 children. She's the last of 13. So about, I think 5 or 6 of her brothers were already in England. working for Rolls-Royce in Bristol. So they sent for her, and she was to do her nursing. But, I mean, she soon abandoned that because she met my dad. So
okay.
She left that and then moved to London to be with him and his family, my grandmother and my grandparents. So that's the story of them. I think my parents, my dad's family, up to our names. My last name is Gustard. I think it's of Spanish descent, and my mum, she is of German and Scottish descent. So, you know, we're all mixed up as most Jamaicans are. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
Yeah, a lot of bits and pieces of us. But like I said, Scottish, German, and I think the name Gustard derives from some Spanish. Yeah.
So, how was childhood for you growing up in that situation? What were some of your treasured memories?
Growing up was great for me. I mean, you know, I grew up, obviously, our teachers were white. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in, it was multicultural. So when I moved to America, when I moved to New York, I mean, part of the reason why I wanted to come to New York was because I didn't see many white people. You know, there were whole areas in Brooklyn, New York, was just all Caribbean people or African American people. So I think that was part of the attraction to move here, because it reminded me of Jamaica. So, but growing up was great. I have fond memories growing up in England, watching TV shows on our black and white TV. I had a younger sister at the time. My father passed away, unfortunately, when I was 7 years old. So, you know, I was a really smart child. So I have memories standing up, being asked to read to the class all the time. My mum was very strict, so we had to read. We had to just read. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think I could read by the age of 5. She was quite strict. Yeah, because she was a smart child. She went to Excelsior School in Kingston, and I think she always read newspapers and encyclopedias back in Jamaica, books that had been sent to her from her families that were already in England. So I think she just carried that over to me and my sister. So she was a strict disciplinarian, and we were always reading. So they say that readers are leaders, and it seemed like you discovered an early age that of talent of being a media personality. Tell us a little about that. Yeah, I was always good at English. English was my favorite subject. English and English literature and geography and social studies. So at a very young age, I always really did well with homework and subjects regarding English. I think at the age of 18, well, as a teenager, I developed a love for reggae, a young, 11, 12, 13. My mum didn't really like reggae because she didn't know anything about it, because she left before reggae and ska was in. She talks about Fats Dominoes and, artists like that she grew up hearing when she was young. So I developed a fondness for reggae music as a youngster. And there was a magazine called Black Teens, and they wanted contributors. They were asking for writers. So at the age of 18, I sent in a piece. I reviewed a record, and they accepted me. So I started writing for a magazine, I think when I was 19. So I used to review all the shows, all the reggae concerts, and they would send me to interview different reggae artists when they visited the UK. So that's how I started in journalism, and then from there I was going to college as well, but I was going to college because my plan was to be a lawyer, but by the time I was 21 I was no longer interested in that, so I dropped out of college, and I just was doing my writing. Really, I was just into reggae, so covering concerts, reviewing records and interviewing artists, and I was an office manager at the Claudia Jones Youth Project. Claudia Jones was she was from Trinidad, and she had the first Caribbean magazine in the UK. So she was one of our heroes, black heroes in the UK. So I was the office manager for the youth project because my aunt was a social worker there. So I was doing that, working there and doing my my writing stuff, weekends and evenings. So I had my late teenage years were really exciting. Up until my mid-20s, because I went all the shows. I met all the artists, lots of interviews, got lots of free records. So great. So yeah.
That's great. So how did that, now, Nora, for your entrepreneurship? So what, we know you're a media person, then you're right, you did all of the stuff you did as shares, but now you're known as this great online entrepreneur. How did you find that piece of yourself?
Okay, so I moved to Brooklyn, New York in 1997, okay, and I came here to do music, because by then I'd evolved into artist management and being a publicist and stuff, so I came here to do that. And I visited Jamaica. I've been to Jamaica several times during the 80s, early 90s before I moved here, and I went to Jamaica, I think in 2008, February, on a trip with one of my friends who was her mum had moved back to Jamaica from England. One of my friends that I grew up with, so I went with her. Before I went, I knew about Bath Fountain, which is a mineral bath in St. Thomas in Bath. And one of my, a producer for a radio show over here, he recommended that I visit there since I was going to be in St. Thomas, because I was always saying St. Thomas is really boring. There's nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So So, apart from staying with family, there's not much around there. So I said, we're going to go and check it out. So I'd gone to Bath Fountain, do you know what I'm saying? And the hot water, and, I heard so much about the place, and I was looking forward to going because I had a pinched nerve and herniated disc in my neck from a previous car accident. So I'd been getting cortisone shots to relieve that pain, to freeze the pain for 2 or 3 months at a time. So, like I said, I went with my friend to Bath Fountain, and it was just really, really good. It was hot water. It was hot spring water, really hot water. But it doesn't peel your skin. It's not like boiling water that would hurt you. You bathe under this hot water, and they have guys up there and women who do massages. They massage you with mud and the hot water and stuff, and then afterwards they rub you down with this pimento oil, this stuff that they make. So, so I was like, what is this stuff? You know what I'm saying? It was this thick red oil, and I was like, so I used the oil. I bought a bottle on the way back, and, the following day I slept so well that night, and the following day I was like, I've got to go back there because I need to bring back some of this oil to New York, because I know I could sell it. Because part of when I moved to New York, my first job before I was ever allowed to work, because I came out on a visa and I could only work for 20 hours a week because of the job. Like I told you, I worked for a recording company, and my income was limited legally. So I used to sell clothes, because people always used to ask me about clothes from England, so I would sell clothes. So I'd already built up a huge clientele. I'd had a couple of stores in Brooklyn selling clothes from England. So I knew that I could sell this oil. So I'd gone back to speak to these guys, to find out who made the oil, what was in the oil, and whatever, and took their contact information. And, when I came back to New York, because I was just really excited about this oil, because it was like magic. I mean, I always suffer from swollen ankles. Yeah, it was, and it got rid of my swollen ankles. There was no pain in my neck. I mean, it was just great. So I came back. A couple of days later, I just looked on the internet to see if I could find anything about pimento oil. There wasn't anything about pimento oil, like their blend with all the leaves and stuff in it. So they told me what was supposed to be in the oil, and I found out where the Federal Drug Administration was, which is at the airport, John F. Kennedy Airport in Queens. I went over there to find out if it was something you would be allowed to bring into the country. So they explained to me how you bring products into the country. It has to be labeled with all the ingredients and da-da-da. So that was February I think that was like the end of January 2008. And I was in communication with these guys in Jamaica. They were telling me, you know, how much it would cost them to get the labels. And it was quite labor intensive, but I persevered because I just considered this blend the magic oil. So, you know, I sent a couple, maybe $2,000 down there to my family, to my cousin, you know, to community. He would be my conduit between these guys in Bar Fountain, and he would bring my product to the airport for me, and he would coordinate to get the labels and do everything that I needed to do to adhere to the rules that the FDA said, you know, find a customs broker and all of this stuff. So I was sending money down there, and I said I would buy 15 gallons to start, you know, and I had to register. So I sent all this money down there, me and my naivety. So anyway, I was excited. I was waiting for my oil. It took about 2 or 3 weeks to come after. By now, we'd reached March 2008. And I was calling my cousin. I thought the oil was on its way. You know, he kept saying, you know, he hasn't brought it yet and this, that. But making excuses, but come to find out that he used the money and then he had to put it back. So he used the money. These guys got paid. I sent my cousin the money to give to them. Then they called back. They said they need more money. Someone got sick. Then someone needed to fix their bike. And just, you know, so I sent the money. So anyway, by the end of March 2008, the oil came. I was excited. It was at customs at JFK. Went to the broker to clear it. It took a couple of days to clear, but I didn't care. I was excited. Picked up the oil, and it was just a different color. It didn't have the pimento berries in it. When I opened the first bottle, it didn't have the scent. It was just, I was really upset. You know what I'm saying? I rubbed some in my skin, and it just was nothing like the oil, what I was expecting it to be. It didn't have any leaves in it. Nothing. I was so pissed off. I'm sorry, I can't say that. I was so upset. So, you know, I called them, right? I picked up the oil the Saturday. I called them the Saturday evening. You know, what's up with the oil? This is not the oil. Because it was just thick. It was just like thick orange oil. And I was like, what is this? Do you know what I'm saying? And they said, it's the same thing, but they use vegetable oil. So I said, but you said it's castor oil. I said, you said you use castor oil and olive oil. What is this? I was so mad. Do you know what I'm saying? They were like, yeah, but vegetable oil can use as well. And I'm like, no, you can't massage your skin with vegetable. You know what I'm saying? And I said, now the labels is not what, you know, what you sent is not what I've said it is. Do you know what I'm saying? And he was saying, well, when I buy some more, they'll make sure it has pimento leaves. It didn't even have pimento leaves in there. I was so mad. Right? So 15 gallons, right? So that was supposed to yield about 500 4-ounce bottles, and it was just unusable. So I had to wait now because that oil was no good. So I had a family member who was going to Jamaica, so I asked them to bring me back pimento leaves and fever grass. Just bring me the ingredients, what these guys said was in it. Do you know what I'm saying? And then I just I bought a gallon of olive oil, and I already had some castor oil, so I just set about trying to ferment it and do it myself. Do you know what I'm saying? So I did it. I put it in a big bucket, in a big vat, and I put the leaves in, and I just let it soak, because obviously we don't have the sunshine here. So, you know, it was going to take a lot longer than they said it would take. How they told me that they made it. So I just did it and strained it after a few weeks, and then I just did sample bottles and was giving it away to people. And then that same year in the summer, like maybe July, whatever, in the summer 2008, my friend, because I was in the music here, so I had the opportunity to get on a radio show in New York. So that would have been my platform that I used to get to talk about the oil, because at this time I couldn't really sell it because I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But I was just trying it because I wanted to sell the oil so badly, because what they used on me, you know, it was just magical, and I just wanted to replicate that. But like I said, what they sent me wasn't it, so I was just trying to make it myself. So like I said, I was giving away sample bottles to people to try, especially older people who had knee issues and stuff like that. And I talked about it on the radio. I would invite people to call in, and I would mail them a bottle, and then they would have to call me back and give me their feedback. That took about a year. I did that for about a year, giving it away, basically. Yeah, and just to make sure that I had something that would work. And then the following year, 2009, once I knew I had a product that worked, you know, I kept adding more and more products. Every time someone went to Jamaica, I would go to Jamaica because I cover the events. I do Reggae Sunfest and Rebel Salute. So I would just come back with a bunch of every leaf that I could get. And then, like I said, and that's how it started, just giving it away. And that's just because...
That's a great story.
Yeah, it's a true story. So, based on what happened
the thing is, right, you're a true entrepreneur because you persevere. It took, it didn't happen. You didn't give up. You stick to your goals and you worked around the challenges and you got to where you are. That now you have this really label. You were recently recognized by the Black Chamber of Commerce. What does that mean to you to get that type of recognition?
They invited me. I'm a member of the Black Chamber of Commerce, and they'd invited me to sit on a panel to talk about online selling, and particularly selling on Walmart, selling on Walmart.com, because, like I said, I was rejected many, many times by Walmart after I'd applied, because after pimento oil, obviously I developed into a range of products. It started with pimento, then I did hair food. I had a lot of problems with other established black hair, African castor oil businesses. There's a couple of popular ones here, and I had a lot of negativity from them and pushback, so I went through a lot to get my product out there, because once my product, because of how I packaged it and it looked so classy and I used the leaves and stuff, I think people felt a bit threatened by me, so I had a lot of pushback. So, like I said, I applied to be selling on Walmart maybe 3 or 4 times, and I was denied. So when I did eventually get to sell there, they recognized it as an achievement because of the products that I sell and that they were doing quite well on Walmart. So they invited me to come and talk to the members about selling on Walmart, and just encourage them to apply and get their businesses into Walmart as well. And that meant a lot to me because, like I said, I've been through so much over the past 10 years. And, I never, coming from England, I'm not really used to people being envious. And, they say in Jamaica, a lot of mine in this. And I really, really experienced that with this company, with Fountain. And so it meant a lot to be invited, because it meant that I really wasn't laboring in vain, and that I'm servicing people. And, for the first 2 or 3 years, like I said, I pretty much didn't sell products. I gave products away. I would advertise in newspapers, in the community section, because I would go to churches. I bought a big massage chair, and I would go to churches and nursing homes and just massage people for free, just to make sure that it worked before, So
you're going to...
I did that, so I felt good for that recognition, because I know how it was for me in the beginning. Do you know what I'm saying? I did a lot of free work. I went with this big old chair, and I would do massages, feet and backs and just stuff, and lots of different events. I would attend different reggae concerts and pay for a booth, and you would go with 100 bottles and maybe sell 2, but then I'd give away 15 massages. So it was good to be invited.
So now that you're an established person, right? Which is great. So congratulations for your perseverance. How do you, in a pretty competitive market, everybody's making up their own formulation. How do you distinguish yourself and your product in the marketplace?
Well, I mean, my new unique selling proposition is that I use leaves. So a lot of other companies, they just mix. They buy essential oils that are already made, and they mix it, and that's the formula. But mine is a bit more labor intensive because I work with leaves. And if you look at the product. I can't put every single leaf in it because then it will be just leaves, too many leaves. But because pimento particularly, it is a natural analgesic, it numbs pain and it continues to get stronger over time. So, we ferment all the leaves and we strain them, but we put individual pimento leaves in the bottles. We put berries so that it continues to get stronger over time because it will ferment. Because I grew up seeing pimento in a little bottle of rum in the bathroom, you know what I'm saying, with ginger in it and pimento. So I know that it's something that my family, I know it's a traditional herbal preparation that Jamaicans use, aside from cooking with pimento, because it's a great preservative. And like I said, it contains so many benefits, do you know what I'm saying, holistic health benefits that I can't throw the leaf away. I can't bear to throw them away. And when I do get pimento leaves, I'm just so happy, you know what I'm saying, because it's like a great gift to me to get these big leathery leaves because I know that they possess so much. It's such a miraculous plant, you know what I'm saying? And Jamaica really is a blessed island, as is the whole of the Caribbean, because, now that we're all turning to alternative medicine because we know that the prescription medications are no good, they're full of side effects and they don't actually cure anybody. They just tame the problem. They just mask the problem. And that to know that there's traditional medicines that our families and our ancestors have been using all the years, you know what I'm saying, to cure themselves. It's just really, it's just a phenomenon to me, and I'm really grateful that I went to Bar Fountain that day because I've helped so much people with this oil.
That's great. Now you've moved beyond Walmart. Now you have your own online stores that people can actually go online to buy your product. Tell them you want to share your website or where they can get your products online?
Yeah. We have the website is fountainoil.com. FOUNTAIN oil, all one word.com. As I said, we're on Amazon, Etsy, Groupon, eBay, Walmart, and we're expanding. We also do private label for a few companies as well. We're really, really busy because a lot of people reach out to us and they want a blend, you know what I'm saying? And because we work with leaves, people really resonate with that.
Yeah. So now you have to hire people. Now you're scaling up with so many marketplaces. Have you been able to hire people to help you with this project? What's the size of your team?
I don't hire externally. I'm really blessed. I have 4 daughters. The youngest is 15, so I usually have them help me. But in the summertime, I'll hire people because, like I said, there's always a lot of jerk fests over the country, jerk festivals, different reggae festivals, and I always go and vend at those places. So, so I do need help, definitely. And I need to look for a premises because it's bigger than me. There isn't really that much storage. I have to be getting big freezers to keep the leaves and stuff. It's getting bigger than me.
Right.
But like I said, I will be hiring people. I'm going to need, because I'm going to have to scale up in such a way that I might need machinery because right now we don't use any. Everything is done by hand and we bottle with jugs. You know what I'm saying? We put the leaves and the berries and everything. Every bottle is made individually. There's no machinery or industrialization involved at all. And,
Right. It's made with care of your hand.
Right. And that's part of the reason why I don't really want to go in stores like Walmart and stuff like that because the products, I don't use any preservatives. So there's nothing to keep it for 2 or 3 years. So something like the natural life of a bottle of castor oil then is going to be like 12 months. So we wouldn't want the product to be sitting on store shelves for 12 months. I make small batches. I might make 60 bottles at a time. So, because we want you to receive a fresh product. So that's what we do. And I would like to keep it that way. I wouldn't want to expand in such a way that the integrity of what the company started as, that we lose that because of profit. It's more important that you derive the benefits from the leaves rather than me worrying about how much money because we all have goals where we want to see ourselves in 5 years or 2 years or 10 years. But like I said, there's a lot of companies that start off, when they're beginning, in the beginning, they're a lot more honest about what the ingredients are and whatever, and they don't compromise, but then over profits or because they have to scale up and meet numbers, the value of the product and the integrity, what they started with it. Right, exactly. So we don't want to do that.
All right. So how about we have a few more minutes here. Do we have a special that if somebody would like to get the product, do you have a special that you'd like to offer them?
Yeah, I could offer a discount if they order on the website. I'll have to put in a code. Right, so that
put in a code, and what would be you can tell us what the code is, and we'll include that in our this in syndication of the recording.
I think we could do. Where are you? You're in Chicago.
No, I'm in Maryland, but we can put that in later on for you. But one final question for you. Right? I want you to, you've come a long way with this product. I want you to look out 5 years and where do you see yourself and the offering that you're giving to the marketplace?
My ultimate goal really is for the product to be, I want Jamaicans to benefit from it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that was my initial goal. My initial plan was to help those in Bath Fountain. Do you know what I'm saying? Because clearly the operators at Bath Fountain who do the massaging, it's a hustle. So when tourists go there, everybody's rushing the tourists, because they're trying to hustle up some money to feed their families, just a living wage. And I want it to be that they make the money. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't really feel good about the fact that I had to really take their idea, how they told me they make it, but because of how they started, I didn't have any choice because there would be no quality control because then I would be getting a different product every time. But my ultimate goal really is for Jamaicans to benefit more.
That's a word to go, Sandra G. And we just want to wish you success, and we'll certainly keep in touch and watch you grow and bless Jamaican inland. So thank you again for being with us.
And so to learn more about Chris Daley, visit Digital to Grow. That's digital with the number 2 grow. To learn more about Jamaican diaspora, visit JamaicanDiaspora.com. And to learn more about Sandra and this wonderful oil, visit fountainoil.com. Sandra, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Bye now.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Thanks.